Welcome back, everyone, to another Coach Blickers podcast. It's your Coach Blicker, the Black Faker, and today, we're talking about why are players so delusional? Why do players like blaming others? Now, I think that if you are always blaming yourself, you always think you could do something better, you probably won't climb. What? You heard it here. I personally believe that if you always say you could have done something better, especially in games that you know you couldn't have done anything in anyway, it creates a negative frame of mind and it feels like you're trapped. So, what I want to kind of talk about today is why we blame others. Why is blaming ourselves, not as constructive as we think it is? And how can we kind of get past that? Now, before we get started, I have a quote, of course. And also, if you guys want to go to my site, coachblicker.com, you guys can get discounts on your coachings. If it's your first time on my site, you get $5 off using the code FIRST. If you guys are stuck in your ELO, if you guys are having a hard time getting back to the ELO you guys were in last season, coaching is for you. I think a lot of people undervalue coaching, but once the person usually breaks through that wall and it's like, I'll get coaching, they see like it's a massive difference between where they are now and where they are going. So I definitely recommend that everyone at least try coaching, whether it be through me or somebody else. I recommend you try it because it's insane how much you can gain without actually having to waste hours and hours and games on learning literally nothing and just being frustrated. Now, the quote that we have is, don't blame others for your situation. Look to your past to find what led you to where you are. I'm going to say it one more time. Don't blame others for your situation. Look to your past to find what led you to where you are. I really like this quote because, and also I don't know who the person was. So, there's that. But I like this quote because it really signifies what is actually happening. And it goes really well with League. So don't blame others for your situation. Look for look to your past to find what led you to where you are. So in League of Legends, there's a lot of things that can lead you to where you are. I always think of League of Legends like if any of you guys ever played a Tall Tale game, like Batman or The Walking Dead, or anyone that read the books where you would choose your own adventure, where you would choose the description, or you would pick what would happen next, and then the story would evolve from basically what you're choosing to do. That's usually how I explain League of Legends. I think League of Legends is, in a way, a choose your own adventure or a Tall Tale game. From the moment you get on the Rift, the moment your champion spawns in, you are starting your game of choices. And depending on which choices you choose are going to decide the outcome. It could be the outcome of the game. It could be the outcome of your laning phase. It could be the outcome of the mid game. You are already deciding your outcome as soon as you step on that Rift. For example, let's say we go to invade, and the invade goes well, and we get 2 free kills. That is helping to pave the way for your next decision, right? Oh, I got 2 free kills. I got 400 from the first blood, and then I got 300 from the subsequent kill. So then that way, I am stacked right now, right? So that is something that gives you an advantage based off that choice. So now you're in lane with an advantage because of the choice to invade. Whether or not the invade was the correct call or not, you got rewarded for it. Therefore, now your next choice is how you play your laning phase. I decided to sit there and kind of farm because I'm very scared. But you have a 400 plus 300. What's that? Come on, guys. Do the math. I'm waiting. That's 600, right? So we have 600 gold right now. I mean, 700. I'm trolling. I'm trolling. Look, and you're a coach. Yeah, I know. It's been a long morning. And anyway, so we got 600. We got 700 gold, right? And you're deciding not to use that. But you could. But you're afraid. Maybe it's a Darius matchup. Maybe it's a Draven matchup. Maybe it's a Zed matchup. And you're like, dude, I'm scared because usually when I play this matchup, I get killed really fast. But you have such a massive lead you're not using. That in turn makes it so you don't snowball harder and you don't end up carrying your game. It was one little choice about how you play laning phase led to not being able to stomp the entire game. That is what I mean by that quote being such a powerful thing for League of Legends, because everything you do has a decision. Whether you get that 700 gold, whether you get that only 400 gold off of just that one decision, it really helps. And this is why I say sometimes when you blame yourself, some situations just are not, you can't do anything about it. You can never really do anything better. And I have no problem telling my students that. When I coach them and I see their games, or they're playing the game and I'm watching them play the game, I have no problem saying yeah, this game was unwinnable. There's nothing you could do. The only time a game is technically really winnable is if you're smurfing. If you're smurfing, you know what to do in really, really screwed up situations. Therefore, you can pull off a game that a regular person in that elo cannot. Now, basically, if you're saying, well, I could have done something better to win the game, I do say players could do something better, but I never put it in their heads that what they would have done would have won them the game. Improving on your own doesn't really necessarily mean I'm netting more wins and I'm netting more loses. It pretty much just says that I could have done something better, and that's that. You leave it at that. You don't say that could have helped win the game, because sometimes no matter what you do, you lose the game anyway. So it's kind of like a balance, because it's unhealthy to say that there's never anything you could do, right? Because then that's just blaming everybody, like, oh, my team sure suck. You got to kind of find that healthy balance of like, yeah, there's nothing I can really do versus, yeah, if I wouldn't have had this one call, I could have actually X, Y, Z. And I definitely think that when players do that, and they definitely say that, you know, it is my fault, a lot of the times they don't really improve because they really think it's their fault. They think, well, if I'm better, I could carry these guys, which is true, but you're not, right? You haven't gotten to that level. You haven't gotten to that stage where you are better. So you're not able to carry like a Smurf would. You'd have to carry your way. You have to carry the way that you're in right now, which is why I always have issues with like Smurfs on like YouTube videos where they would go and say, this is how you carry with support. This is how you carry with top. This is how you carry with this. This is how you carry with that. Bro, if you're master or grandmaster or challenger and you're smurfing in gold talking about how to carry gold players, no one that is gold should be able to do what a grandmaster, master, or challenger player should do. Right? Like that's it. You can say the right things to do, but if the player hasn't been taught that, if the player doesn't know why, doesn't know how, it's not gonna work. It doesn't make no sense, right? That's all. I always like compare race car driving, and I don't even know why. It's just there. If a race car driver was like, oh, we'll just say a drifter. A drifter was like, hey, dude, what you need to do is you need to pull your hand. I don't really know how to do it, so bear with me. You need to pull your hand on the e-brake. You need to make sure that you're pressing the gas, but you're pressing the brake, steering, turning the steering wheel to a certain way. Boom, go ahead and do it. Bro, what? I promise you, you will not be able to drift like an actual like pro drifter just by being told what to do. And that's what these videos do. What these videos do is they tell you what to do, and they have a Smurf doing it, so it looks 1,000 times better than what you can actually pull off. Which is why I say it's not fair to really say if you were better, you could carry. Because sometimes you're not supposed to. You are supposed to lose. The algorithm is definitely supposed to keep you at 50%. They've said time and time again, it's supposed to keep you at 50%, but it's supposed to keep you steadily climbing. I tested that. It does try to keep you steadily climbing. No matter what percent you are at, they do try to give you some wins. But there are some games where, you feel like it's really, really difficult. You feel like it's really, really hard, and you can't really climb. Those are the games where if you were smurfing, you would win. Okay, so the games that feel really unwinnable, those are the games where if you were smurfing, you would win. Now let's go back to the topic of what I just said at the start of this video, where it's why are we so delusional? Why are we so quick to blame others, even if it is ourselves? Why are we so quick to do it? The thing is, we'll talk about the first. We'll talk about why players just kind of blame others in the first place. So there's something that humans just like to do in general, where we don't want to feel like the bad guy. And the very easy way to make it not seem like we're the bad guy, whether it be bad in the sense of like just poor play, or bad in the sense of like evil, we don't really want to be that guy or that girl. So the best thing that we would do is we would shirk off the blame and move it to someone else, because it makes us feel better. It makes us feel better about the situation. It makes us feel better about ourselves. Sometimes when you shirk the blame off to others, it makes you feel more superior than the other person. Let's just say we're having a game and it's like, dude, my jungle is so gapped. Although you are losing lane very, very hard and you need a gank, it just feels better to say that my jungler never ganked, even though you're the reason why you're losing your lane. You know what I mean? So it's kind of indirect. It's like, I lost my lane, help me so that I can win my lane, but you're not helping me, so then jungler, you suck. Even though I'm the reason that I lost my lane, and I'm the reason that I'm put in the situation, which is why I thought that quote was so powerful, because it really cements that in your head. I'll read it one more time. Don't blame others for your situation. Look to your past to find out what led you to where you are. A lot of times laners will go for trades and then they'll get extremely low and then beg for a gank. Well, then don't go for that trade and you wouldn't be low. It's something like that simple that just seems to go past people's minds, and they would, shirk the blame off to other players. Now, once again, then you have the subsequent people where it's like, yeah, I shouldn't have went for that trade. If I wouldn't have went for that trade, I wouldn't have been low, and then I wouldn't have depended on my jungler. Very good. That means that, we're having the awareness. We understand, like, hey, this went bad. But to assume that would have helped you win your game is very, very false. There's a lot more to League of Legends than just that particular moment of your game. Then this is why I said you have to really find that balance. Sometimes you really can't win your games, but you could definitely do something better, and you got to figure out what it is that I can do better. If I knew that I shouldn't have went for that trade, I could take that into my next game that I play and really think about when I'm going for that trade. And then when I'm going for that trade, maybe my jungler was coming to gank me, Maybe he was on his way, but I went for that trade and now I'm 10% HP. And he knows that he can't kill that target that's in front of me. So he doesn't gank. But I think he just sucks. But realistically, this dude is big brain. He knows that he can't kill him. Why would he just go into a lane if it would be a waste of time? But once again, we don't really see it that way, right? So I really wanted to just kind of hit home there. I really wanted to think about, why do we blame ourselves, or why do we blame others instead of blaming ourselves? And when we do blame ourselves, why do we go like above and beyond instead of just actually focusing on that little microscopic situation? This is why looking at replays sometimes aren't that impactful, because you don't really know what you're looking for. You might say, dang, I could have played better, but like, why do you say that? Do you just say that because people say you should think about what you could have done better? Or do you say that because you know that you could have played better? And then if you knew that you could have played better, do you think that would have helped you win your game? Or you just think that it would have because you could have played better, right? And this is where coaching comes into play. This is why coaching is just so important, in my opinion, at least to try one time, because there's a lot more that you think that or there's a lot more to the game that you don't really think and you think you'll just learn on the fly, or you think you know a lot, and then once you get a coach, you're like, wow, that's a lot more than I thought. And there's different perspectives to look at the game to help you improve your play. You might be only looking at it through one perspective, but what if there's 6, 7, 8 ones that you could have been looking through to just improve your game like that, and you'd be stomping everybody? There's only so much you can do without asking for another person's help, whether it be a coach or a friend or something like that. You still need to ask somebody. Like, it's got to be somebody, because we can't really improve on our own. We only have one perspective of what we do, unless you're just very, very good at looking at from different perspectives. And kudos to you. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of hit that topic because I feel like, it's something that is just really bad in NA. I think it's pretty bad in other servers too. But particularly in NA, people know that they're playing the blame game. People know that they need help, and then they just don't get it. And I always think that's kind of sad for our server, because obviously it's my main server. And it sucks to see people just kind of blame other people, no matter what. Even if someone is like a 90% challenger smurf and the person losing the game, the person will still combat the smurf, like type to them, say things bad, think it's their fault. And like, bro, this dude's a challenger. He knows what he's doing. How on earth is it even close to the challenger's fault? Like, obviously they know what they're doing. And this is where the ego thing comes in, where it's like, well, you may be challenger, but you're blah, 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 blah. And all that stuff comes out. And it's really only on NA. If you go to EU or you go to Korea, or any other server for that matter, maybe not OCE. I don't know. I haven't been on that one in a while. But you'll notice that players do get mad, but players are often willing to get the help. And for NA, players get mad and they just whine. And then they just don't care about getting the help, even though they need the help. But they're so upset, they're so frustrated, they're so egotistical that they don't even ask for help. I've literally had players that have added me, that knew I was a coach, and they just say, hey, can you get me to this rank? And I'm like, I don't boost, but I can answer any questions you have. And then they don't. They just either unfriend or they just don't say anything ever again. And it's like, it's literally free at this point, dude. Like, what? You have an unlimited knowledge source. And you would rather take the cheap route of just getting boosted, I guess you can say, rather than just asking the dude questions. It's free. Hey, coach. So I'm wondering, what do you do in a situation where you have like 5 kills, your ADC is kind of like feeding, and but you don't really know what to do with it. Like, what do you do? Like, how is that hard? But because we're in A, for some reason, we just have so much ego. We just have so much pride where we're not capable of asking for help. I'm telling you guys, if you guys ask for help, even if it's just once, nobody looks down on you. It's okay. Even if someone's smurfing in your game and you're mad that they're smurfing, who cares? Add them. Dude, what did you do to like beat my ass so hard? Like, how did you smurf? Like, what happened? Like, there's so much knowledge, but all we care about is memes on NA. You know, all we care about is jokes. Haha, you know, that person's bad, that guy's dog, blah, blah, blah. Nobody really cares about improving. And it definitely goes to show a lot, like I said, based off people who add me and just want boosts instead of just asking questions about how to get better. It's very, very easy to just ask someone, hey, how do you do this? Hey, how do you do that? I know when I was first getting better, I did that. I had someone to look up to. They weren't a coach, but they were a challenger player. And I always messaged them any questions that I had. It obviously wasn't little pesky questions. It was more of like really in-depth type questions. But I would, and I would type like a paragraph to them. And when they got enough time, they would get back to me and be like, hey, so this is what I think. And then they would tell me. And I've always improved my play that way. And I am really good friends with them to this day. They've always been helping me, whether it be in League or other games too, because they're just really good at it. And I always seek their advice. So, you know, it's very easy. You just have to drop the ego. You have to drop this blame stuff and just really like, do you want to get better? You're playing League of Legends, you're playing ranked for hours and hours and hours and games and games and games, but yet you have so much ego that or pride that you don't want to climb anywhere. You'd rather say, I don't need nothing, I'm fine, and be in the same rank for thousands of games rather than just, hey, yeah, I need some help. Okay, what do you need help with? And that right there could boost you to 20, 30, 40, like, wins right then and there. But obviously not in a row, but you could definitely get a lot out of just asking one particular question. So, anywho, that's my thought on the matter. That's what I wanted to say. Final notes here. It's okay to accept the blame. Just remember, not everything is your fault in terms of winning and losing. You could always play better. I do agree with that. But in terms of winning and losing, sometimes you just can't win. And sometimes you have to just take the L. But don't beat yourself up over it. It happens. Duos happen. People choosing champs they don't know happens. People choosing roles they don't know happens. Like all that, you can't really have a balanced matchmaking because a lot of the matchmaking is tainted by what players do, what players pick, and stuff like that. So it's very hard to say that every lose is your fault, especially when you're not a carry role in general or a carry champion. So just kind of remember that when you are playing, losing is okay. It's designed to keep you at 50% win rate. You're going to get loses for sure, and you're going to get wins for sure. Whether or not you do anything different, you're going to get wins and loses regardless. The ones that you can impact are the ones that you should be winning, and therefore you'd be climbing. Okay? So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed another Coach Blickers podcast. We will have another one tomorrow, and I will be streaming today at 1 o'clock p.m. because I do have a coaching session at 12. So thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I always say thank you for what? Approaching this like a coach. Have a good rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching this. CoachBlicker.com if you guys would like to have a session.